about this shooter, who they are, where they're from, how they got there, who they might have worked with or been directed by or conspired with or been aided by. That's job number one. And exposing those facts will greatly inform any kind of inquiry that the Secret Service conducts later to figure out if there were things that they could have or should have done differently. I think the location of the shooter's position opens up all kinds of possibilities. I agree with you, likely paced this positioning long in advance, which would lead you to believe that the manufacturing company that owns that cluster of buildings, whether or not they have any video surveillance in the area, whether people have ever seen this person or a vehicle that's ultimately attributed to him in the area. So there's all kinds of investigative avenues that simply that position opens up. Of course, once they identify where he's from and what vehicles he's connected to, there will be search warrants executed at all of those locations on all those properties. They'll speak to every one of his relatives, work associates, anyone who knows him. They'll take every piece of electronics that he owns or has touched or been near, and they'll download those things. They'll get onto his social media. They'll look at who he was talking to online, searches that he may have been making online. So this is a very complicated and vast process. I am confident that the full weight of the FBI Counterterrorism Division and all of its supporting assets like SIRG and the evidence response teams, they are working tonight. They've been deployed to the scene. They will be going 24/7 on this case for quite some time.
Just in terms of making an identification, Andrew, I mean, is the fastest way, I mean, taking fingerprints off his, off his corpse? Is it following the history of the weapon used? What is the best way? Assuming he doesn't have IDs on him. I'm talking about.
Sure, right. You look in his pockets first, but the weapon is probably not a super reliable indicator of identity, just because it could have been a long chain of changes in possession of that or transfers of that weapon along the way. They can run fingerprints instantly from the scene. They have a process called a quick capture machine that they developed literally on the battlefields, working with special forces and our military forces in Iraq and Afghanistan. They can print him in place and instantly return whether or not he's got any sort of fingerprint record in the federal and state systems. There's other things that they can do. They can try to use dental records, things like that, but they will have this person identified, I would think, within the next few hours. Then begins the process of really peeling that life apart.
John Miller, I mean, at this hour, what stands out to you? What are the biggest questions you have from a sort of how could this have happened standpoint?
Well, I think the questions are going to be about what that outer perimeter was like, but I also understand, as the NYPD official who worked hand in glove with the Secret Service, I led the package that ran ahead of Donald Trump's motorcade in every trip he made to New York as president, without exception. I know how the Secret Service works, but the package they give to a president is one thing. The package they give to a former president is scaled down. Even the package they give to a former president who is a presidential candidate is not the same as presidential security. So in this case, they had a counter sniper team, which isn't in every case, and they were looking out for high ground. But as you see from the image on the screen, most of the high ground is very low. So they're going to have to face a lot of questions about this, but some of it may boil down to what was said before on our air, which is if someone's willing to plan it out, case it, and willing to die in the process, there isn't always a way to stop it.
And Andrew, in terms of FBI, I mean, they have personnel obviously probably already there. As I think John was saying, there's going to be a lot more resources heading there right now.
That's right, Anderson. Every FBI field office has an evidence response team. Those teams are typically deployed regionally, so I would expect that the Pittsburgh field office is in the lead on this case. That's their territory, but they'll be receiving massive influxes of resources, personnel, equipment, all sorts of things from Philadelphia, from New York, maybe New Haven. And there's a whole host of very large, capable offices nearby. And they'll be getting folks from headquarters, whether they like it or not. They'll get headquarters folks, folks from SERG, as John mentioned before. So they're all those resources. There's a critical incident conference call that takes place within the FBI as soon as anything like this happens. And the purpose of that call is to get the leaders of all those different divisions and areas within the FBI together on the same call. The deputy director presides over it, and the decisions to deploy resources are made instantly, and people start moving as soon as that call concludes. So I'm quite confident that that's happened already.
Hey, Andrew, we've just got a new video that I want to show you. It's of the rooftop with Secret Service counter snipers on it. These are the ones who assume would have been the ones who killed the shooter. On the video, you can hear them shooting, and we're seeing this for the first time. Let's play this.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that shot. That shot's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened. That's a little bit old.
I want to try to re-rack that and replay that. I don't know if we can zoom in on it, because it's interesting. You see the counter sniper. I mean, he's looking through his the lens on the rifle, and then seems to kind of notice something that he looks at with his own eyes as if to confirm, and then again, then quickly shoots. Andrew, I don't know if you can see this video from your location, but
Yeah.
what do you make of it?
You know, it's a remarkable capture. Well, the first thing that jumps out to me, Anderson, is they, at least that sniper, and possibly his, I don't know if that's his spotter that's lying on the roof next to him. You typically deploy as a pair, one person on the gun, the other person on just optics and directing the person on the gun. The video begins with them looking essentially in the right direction. It's almost as if you get the sense that maybe something on that rooftop had already caught their attention. And then when he raises his head off the gun, it almost seems to be in response to the first shot, like almost looking to confirm, like, did I just see what I think I saw, sort of thing. This is all speculation. We don't know. We don't have that information yet, but it is remarkable to me that he seems to be looking exactly in the right place.
Well, it's interesting because
when the shots go off.
there is, and again, this is just, these may be completely random pieces of information, but there was the eyewitness who we played the sound from a short time ago, who said that he was alerting local law enforcement and pointing Secret Service people on the roof to the location of the person he believed was the gunman before the gunman fired, which may be, again, we don't know, but if that is the case, then that might be why the counter sniper is already pointing in that location. John, or go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, you would hope and expect that if they had received a witness report like that, it would have at least gone out over the radio channel. And it's possible that the snipers got some version of that report, like, hey, we're hearing a report of something happening on a roof on your 3 o'clock or something like that. And so they may have been looking over there to kind of gather more information to see if they could spot something as well, but not having had the robust full, you have a shooter on this roof sort of thing. So yeah, there's a lot to be ironed out here.
John Miller, I don't know if you can see that counter sniper video. I'm wondering if anything stands out to you about it.
I think Andy's got it right, which is you've got the sniper, you've got his spotter. They are getting information in their earpieces. It is possible we're getting reports of an individual on a roof that's way on the other side. He may be looking for that in his scope when he looks up. When you hear those shots, it's entirely likely that is the shooter's actual shots, and then the sniper, and it cuts off before you hear the larger volley of shots. The video does. But that is probably coming from that counter sniper taking that shooter out as they were trying to assess what is he, where is he. Now, if you go back to the map version of that, you see where President Trump was, you see where the shooter was. where the shooter was, that's a roof that slants up one way and slants down the other way. So if the shooter is crawled up the down slant, he would be out of the view of that sniper until he either stood up or crawled to the top of it to take his shot. So they might have been looking for him before he became visible. I think your assessment that he heard the shots, looked up, went back to his scope, and opened fire is highly likely.
I want to play the video, which we've been playing pretty much once an hour or so, just for those who are just joining. It starts, this is around 6:15 p.m. in Butler, Pennsylvania. This is a short minutes into former President Trump speaking at this rally when the shots began.
No, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old, and if you want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Moving to spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. Hawkeye's here. Move to spare. Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready. You ready? Are we good? Shooter's down. Are we good to move? We're clear. We're clear. We're clear. Let me get my shoes. I got you, sir. Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold on, your head is bloody.
So we gotta move to the front. Let me get my shoes. Okay. Watch out.
Rolf, let's go back to you.
You know, Anderson, every time I see that video, it is so scary indeed, and the thought of what potentially could have happened within a few inches away from where those bullets landed is so scary indeed. I want to go to CNN's Randy Kay. She's joining us from just outside Trump Tower in Manhattan for us. What are you seeing over there? What are you hearing, Randy?
Well, we've been out here now for a couple of hours. We came here because we were told that they had increased police presence here just out of an abundance of caution, and they sure have. There's about a steady stream of about 8 or 9 officers here behind me. They've been making the rounds around the building. We are right out front of Trump Tower on 5th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. And of course, Trump comes here and there. He's come here when he's had to be on trial here in New York City. He's not here very often, but just out of an abundance of caution, they have increased the police presence here. There is a small crowd. To be honest with you, most of it is media, but there have been some supporters coming throughout the night. A couple of people just showed up to light some candles, perhaps trying to get some sort of vigil going. But we understand from the spokesperson for New York City Mayor Eric Adams that he has been briefed on this situation. He has said that his prayers go out to the former president. And this is not the only area in New York City, Wolf, that they are concerned about just in case. They are also beefing up the police presence in other areas of the city. Those would include City Hall, also 40 Wall Street, and Foley Square. Foley Square has a little bit of history. It's known as Federal Plaza, and that is a major site for protesters. Often that is where they gather. Certainly during Occupy Wall Street, that's where they gathered years ago. So that is one area that they want to keep an eye on. But as I said, they've had a steady stream here of people coming through. They've been chatting with the police officers a little bit. It's a very calm crowd here this evening. But of course, They just want to be sure that everything here is that they are taking all the precautions that they can. There's been a permanent blockade, Wolf, out front of Trump Tower here since 2016. But this is different when you have actually police officers standing at the front door of Trump Tower, making sure nobody gets inside. Wolf?
And as you know,